I want to get your take on the SCOTUS ruling. What does this mean?
Well, look, I think you can at least attempt to make the argument that the Supreme Court ruling might not actually be that impactful. The Supreme Court did not strike down reciprocal tariffs. The Supreme Court simply struck down the specific authority, IEPA, that the president used to implement these tariffs. But the office of the president has a number of different authorities, a number of different tools it can use to implement tariffs. And so I think we're going to see the administration attempt to recreate, to the extent it can, the reciprocal tariff regime under other authorities. That process has already begun with Section 122. I think, though, there is a little bit more nuance that has to be introduced into the picture. This is by far the sharpest rebuke that's ever been delivered to the Trump administration for the president's ability to more or less do whatever he wants to do on trade. So I think trade partners now are making assessments of what this means and the extent to which Trump might have been weakened.
So we've heard from the U.S. and one of the secretaries there calling on global trading partners to honor the trade deals that have been agreed upon. But you know what? This 15% tariff now, what does it mean for the likes of Australia, Singapore, and the UK, which had earlier announced, tariff rates that were lower than this 15%?
Well, look, clearly for those countries, it's bad news. Now, it remains to be seen if the U.S. will be willing to entertain some adjustments there to sort of correct that situation. But really, when we try to assess the 122 tariffs, I would caution people, this is just a temporary bridge. Don't read too much into it. The purpose of 122 is just to carry the United States through until the Section 301 investigations can be completed. Under Section 301, the tariffs could be significantly higher and they could be longer lasting. So really view the 122 tariffs as just a temporary bridge.
Now we're looking at, on the opposite side, at China's tariff rate, Brazil's closer to 50%. We just heard from China's Commerce Ministry calling on the United States to lift its unilateral tariffs on trading partners. Where does this leave China now? Has it basically been given the upper hand as it prepares to have discussions with President Trump traveling to Beijing very soon?
Well, I think at least thus far, we see China keeping its cards fairly close to its vest, which suggests to me they might be following the old adage about when your opponent is digging himself into a hole, don't interfere. So I think they and other countries are content to let things play out a little bit further and see how things go. Even before the Supreme Court ruling, China felt like it was in a much stronger position vis-a-vis the United States, certainly than it was during Trump 1.0. And the Supreme Court decision, I think, will only strengthen that sense.